So let me tell you what we're gonna do today. I will stop. Tracy, that's exactly sort of what we're gonna do today. All right, so for those of you who have been with me since the beginning of the year, this was my creative clarity journal that we made, and I never stitched together, and I just did right before this, and it was very challenging because I have this piece of canvas in there, so it made it very challenging, so I went ahead and did it. But I'm going to show you, if you don't know how to do this pamphlet stitch, how I do it. So what I need to do is make a little cover, and that's what we're going to do today. But before we do that, I just want to demonstrate how I do a pamphlet stitch. So this right here, I just took a big piece of sketch paper and I cut it up, and I think it's 6 by 12 is what it is, and I stacked them up. So now I'm going to take just half of them so I can fold them easier and just make sure they're very tidy. And I don't know how well, I usually pull down to the center here and just kind of crease that, and then I take my bone folder. All right, and I'll do the other one. It's harder to do it when you have a thick stack, so it's better to have a thinner stack of paper. So this is a great way to, if you want to make a quick little sketchbook to throw in your bag. You can do a fun cover with collage or lettering or drawing, whatever you want to do. You just take some pages out of your big pad. And this is not what you could do it with watercolor. You can get fancy, but this is not fancy. All right, so now I have a signature. So this is just one. And that's what I did in here, one signature. Now, what I did was I took this Japanese hole punch and I punched the holes, and like when Jeannie makes hers, she's very precise and she has a template and she measures everything out. I'm not precise, so I'm going to just poke a hole, kind of eyeball the center. All right, I'm just gonna poke a hole right through there. You can do it that way, or let me move my stuff and show you a little bit more precise. Oops, sorry. Hang on. So the best thing to do is to clip them all together so it doesn't move around. So now I have this little cutting mat. So I poked a hole. You can poke a hole with a needle if you don't have one of these punches. All right, I think there's some paper in there. All right, so I'm gonna eyeball this and put it in the center, and I just punch it down. All right, and it went right through. Okay, so now I'm going to eyeball kind of around an inch, but I'm on my seam in, and my paper's kind of thick. So you have to clean this out every now and then because the paper gets all jammed up. You could just use a regular hole punch and take it all apart. Okay, I think I've almost got it. I probably should take the thing apart, but it wouldn't be Facebook Live if I didn't have a few disasters. Okay, like that. Okay, so there we go, a first disaster. All right, so you can get some of that paper out. There we go, the little confetti, I like to call it. So these are pretty great, these little hole punch. I got it a long time ago. It comes with different little heads. And so you can do teeny tiny holes. All right, so I need about an inch from here. All right, my big elbow in the way. Okay, there we go. So now I have big holes here just to show you. Now you can do this from either inside or outside, depending on where you want to tie it. I usually go from the outside. I usually go from here. Now I have bigger holes than I need, but I did it because that's the hole punch I have right now. So you leave a little tail, all right? And then you go through the hole, and then you jump over the center, You see that? You jump over the center, and then you come back through the center, okay? So that's your very simple, basic, and you can do this inside or outside. So if you don't want the little knot on the outside, I did a double strand of embroidery thread. You can use ribbon, and I just looped it underneath, and I'm gonna tie a knot and then trim it. And you can adorn, you can put beads on them, whatever you want to do. So now it's on the outside, so if I really wanted it to be on the inside, so I have this kind of binding, I can do that as well. So now I have like a little mini sketchbook that I can write in. You can make it any size. It's super easy, and it's great to use like your leftover or your practice. You can take all the practice and cut it all up into a size and make a super cool sketchbook. All right, so this is what we're gonna do today. I have been practicing. This is all done in oil, so they might still be a little wet. So this was a big sheet. I think it was like 12 by 16, something like that. And I just started playing with color and I didn't draw anything. I was just playing with different brushes. And so I decided to start cutting them up. And this is what I did. So here's one. And what I did was I tried to find a place that I thought I would cut off, and I just kept zooming in. Like, I have a box cutter here, and it's pretty sharp. And then I save all the little remnants. And so I'm just gonna keep turning it until I'm satisfied. So it's pretty uneven over here, but I can get it pretty straight if I keep turning it. So I'm just cutting these pieces, and I'm getting a different, let's cut this side here. I'm getting a different view of the flower, and certain things are looking more interesting to me as I kind of zoom in like I would do on my phone. Zoom in on this, and then I get these really interesting little pieces too. All right. Because it's all in one big sheet, I just see, you know, one disaster after the next, like, oh, that's terrible, and then, but once I started cutting it up, I started seeing things that I can possibly put together and get some different types of inspiration for my flowers or an abstract or something like that. So there's a lot of white here. This is kind of cool to me, but I'm gonna cut it off. So let's see. All right, I find this very satisfying to cut them up in little pieces. Okay, so to me that looks pretty cool. So now I have these 3 pieces. I could keep cutting, but I'm not. And then I have these other pieces. Let's see, what size is this? I think this is, did I do 3 by 3? I think so. No, it's 4. All right, but I'm gonna cut this down to 3 because that was kind of my idea. Let's see, what side do I want to cut it down to? I want it to be 3 by 3. So, see, this is what I'll sit here and overanalyze this. So it's almost 3 by 3. Let's just take this end off here. I just picked a number 3 by 3 because it's a nice little square that I can use. All right, is it pretty close? Yes, it's close enough. Okay, so that's about 3 by 3. So now I have all these little pieces from the big sheet of paper that I find very beautiful. So I'm going to cut them. I'm just gonna be very careful here as I do this. So there's just some interesting variations in color, and see if it works out. In my head it works out, but you know how that goes. All right. So I think all of these are around 3 by 3. I mean 3-inch strips. They're all varying widths. Okay. I'm gonna put these over here. What do I have over here? Must be something else good. Oh, I like that. Let me just take part of this off here. I'm eyeballing now. It's probably not a good idea, but let me just take another little piece off. All right, you're probably cringing and I'm not holding it down with a ruler, but I'm a risk taker. All right, I like that piece. And I like this piece here. So there's some different ways we can play with this in our sketchbooks. All right. What do I have here? That's kind of boring. That's pretty right there. That's pretty. All right, so now I've taken apart all my practice here. And the first thing I'm gonna do, because it's about time, it's only been since February, I am going to finish my journal. All right, and I think I'm gonna use one of these. That one's kind of pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one here. And I'm gonna use Yes Paste. All right, you can use matte medium too. I'm almost to the bottom. I've had this for years, it lasts forever. All right, so hopefully I'm gonna put it on here because I think it's still a little wet. All right, and then I'm just gonna put it as my cover and a baby wipe here. And let's see, just kind of rub it, press it down. Okay. So, oh, I'm sorry, I just hit the stand. Probably felt like you were in turbulence. Okay, so the thing that's great about this Yes Paste, you don't have to work too quickly. And I don't have my corners down yet, which I will do. I'm just gonna let, for demonstration purposes, I'm just gonna put it on there and then I'll go back and do my corners. And I'll just do that by kind of lifting up and getting the Yes Paste and really pressing it down. But I like to make sure everything's in the right place before I add more of it. Okay, so now I have that. I like that. I think it's really pretty. And those are all my pages that I can continue to add on through for, that one has something, throughout the rest of the year, or, you know, add to it. I don't know, my traveling girl, I love her. And then I have my goals in here and my vision statement. Okay, so now I have this lovely little journal and I can keep adding to it if I want to, but I want to be able to close it up. So I cut a piece of, surprise, olive green ribbon. I know you're shocked. So I'm going to put it here and I'm gonna figure out. Now, there's a couple options. You can wrap it all the way around like this, which I think it's kind of pretty, or you could get a thinner ribbon like I have this one. All right, you could punch a hole in here and in the back, these two areas, and then have it tie right here, which would be really pretty too, so that this stays. So you can do one of two things. It just depends. Now, I don't know which one I want to do. All right, kind of like that better than the big green because it goes across my painting. So you know what? That's what I'm going to do. All right, so now I have to be a little bit more precise. Let me take this out. And let's see, I think I'm gonna bring it in right here. That looks pretty good, and punch a little hole. Okay. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the same thing. I take out this and it should be even. In theory, it should be even. We'll see. All right. I don't know why it's really hard today. For some reason that punch, sometimes it's, okay. And let's get a little, I have this color. What else do I have on my, I'll go with this rusty color because it's really pretty. All right. Let's put a little piece here. And you could wrap it all the way around and come through the other hole if you wanted to. So there's a lot of variations on a theme here. Let's see. Could go like that even. That's kind of pretty. It's not as heavy as the green one, so maybe I'll just do that. Let me cut extra. This ribbon's really pretty, isn't it? All right, so I have my hole in the back. You may not even need that. You could just do one hole and then wrap around like so. And then do a little tie. Okay, I'm happy with that. There we go. So it's finished. Now you could do the two and make a tiny little bow, but I kind of like that. And I like all the colors I like. So there, it's finished. Yay, I finally finished it. It only took me 7 months, okay, to do it. All right, I'm very excited that I finally finished it. Okay, let me put this back in here, my goals. And it's been sitting in my studio waiting for me. All right, there we go. All right, so project complete. Are you so excited? Are you so proud of me? All right, let's just put this under here. I can't remember where I got this ribbon. I know somebody's gonna ask me, but I don't remember. It's in my big ribbon bowl. Okay, there we go. Put this over to the side. Now, what we're gonna do, is all well, everything all right? Okay, so here's my sketchbook that I'm using all summer. Let me get all my, let's see if this is even gonna work. All right, in my head, it's working, but you know how that goes. All right, we've done a lot. So I'm gonna take a blank page, move the dangerous equipment out of the way. And there's something in there. Let's just make it nice and clean. Oh, this is a good one, it's got the stitching. All right, I'm gonna save this for something. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I like it. All right, so I am going to start. I'm gonna do a little series. There's my pencil. A little series of floral abstracts. I put in air quotes. And what I'm gonna do is take my pieces and make like little puzzle pieces and make them in this 3x3. And that's not a 3x3. I mean 3-inch strips. So I can, and then you can paint over this. So this isn't, mine's from oil paints, but you can change that. And they can be a little bit wonky. I'm not going for like this perfect square, so I can play around, you know, with the matching of it, but I have the first one here. So I'm just gonna lay them out and then I'm gonna glue them down. I'm gonna do 4 of them. And see what happens. Uh-oh, Millie, somebody's walking by. There we go. There we go. Okay. So during Facebook Live, I take Millie out like 5 minutes before I go on, and I take her and I throw the Frisbee like 3 times, and then she gets very frustrated with me because she likes to do it for about 30 minutes. And then we come back in and I shut all the blinds, I've learned. And then she can relax a little bit because she can't relax with the blinds open because, you know, the UPS man, the postman, the people walking their dogs. All right, this one's too big. I need to cut it down a little bit. So I think this is kind of a fun little project to do, and it takes the work, the practice you've done, and gives you a different perspective. And then what I can do is on the opposite page, I can paint it. I can kind of do one that's just painted, like, oh, I'll put a big pink splash here, then add a little green in there, or, you know, move it around. However I choose to be inspired by it. All right, so I'm gonna put this one up here. I love this one. This one's really pretty. And you can, if you want to make them very perfect, you can do that. You can draw yourself a little square, but I find them kind of interesting. I might even layer some pieces on top. And I gotta tell you, I was doing this, I've done this before in my you know, art journals and stuff in different ways, like taking apart portraits and stuff. And I find it very relaxing, and it kind of rejuvenates me and gives me some ideas, and it might be something that you find interesting. Okay, I have to keep cutting. That piece that can go on top. Oh, all right, just found another good piece here. But I think it was too small. That's okay. All right, so I'm gonna start putting some down and see what happens, but I wanna make sure they're all at least 3 inches wide so that it sort of fits in my square. You could do this with little sketches. You can take a page of, you know, sketches, flower sketches that you have, and take them apart, cut them in whatever size you want. And I also feel like doing this, it keeps you from being like completely attached to your work. It's, you just let it go. Like in the song, Frozen, let it go. So speaking of Frozen, which just popped in my head, Olivia her camp this week is Frozen. And she comes home, she goes, Mom, it was a bloodbath. Every little girl wants to be Elsa. So she's like, I don't know if I can take that song day after day over and over. And so what they have the kids do is they make them audition. And so the whole point of the camp is to give them experience with a show without having to go through a grueling process of rehearsals and, you know, 3 months, which is usually what it takes for these shows to get put up. And so it's good for the younger kids or kids who haven't had a lot of experience in theater. And so they do it in 2 weeks, and they learn songs and dances, and it's all cut down. So it's like a 45-minute show. And last week was Shrek, and it was an older group. There were some high school kids in there, and Olivia had the best time. She loved it. But this week she said, oh my goodness, it is something, because they're younger kids and they all want to be Elsa and they all want to be Anna. So she's like, I think I'm ready for this to be done. All right. So, oh, Mark just got home. That means Millie will stop barking. All right, so I'm going to start putting these down, and let's see what happens. Let me start with this one. Now, if you watch the replay, I will probably speed this part up so that, or put some lovely music to it. All right, so that's my little inspiration. And then I'll just start putting this down like so. And then you can continue to add and paint and use this in any way you want. Actually, I'm going to move this one down a little bit and leave a space. And my hands are going to get all sticky. And this is good for me because it helps me with that perfectionist side of me, that I want everything to be perfect, and it's really hard to make everything perfect in art. It just doesn't happen. So this is good for me. And now I have that little spot there. Oh, look what I have. Look what I have. I have a little piece. All right, hopefully you're not falling asleep as I have so much fun gluing down all my swatches. But I think they're gonna be cool. Hang in there with me. I'm getting close. All right. It's the grand finale day. It's the last day. The last day of Sketchbook, Summer Sketchbook series, part 1. Then we'll have to continue the series every summer. We'll just do it. We'll all meet back here and do it. I'll have to think of new things. Oh, while I'm gluing and chatting, even though I can't chat with you, which is a drag, I am starting to put together an idea for the fall. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull it down, the whole thing. And it's sticky right there, but that's okay, it'll dry. I just can't close my book. I got an idea for the fall, and I will be sharing that with you. And we're gonna do another little series in the fall. Sometime September, like maybe 4-week series. And then September, October, then we'll go into the holiday cheer at the beginning of November, which is always very exciting as we put together gifts and holiday just fun and cheer and giveaways and all that stuff. All right, it's coming together. Oh, I like this one. All right, so ways that I will use this, as just in case you missed me as I've been gabbing about here. I will find ways to look at this, and then when I'm painting, I can refer back and just make some interesting choices and look at just different parts of it and maybe make some mini abstracts. I think this one could go here. I don't know. I find it very inspiring and fun to do and can be part of something bigger. All right, now I need a baby wipe. All right, my friends, I am kind of loving this. I have some extra little pieces left over, which you need to save your pieces. So when you have pieces like this, if you're like me, it gets overwhelming with all your little scraps. So I kind of categorize my scraps. Like I have things like this, like collage paper, painted paper, I put in one box. I have those Rubbermaid boxes. They're not deep, they're thinner. And I will put one that has all vintage paper in it. One has like really good vintage paper. One has just, okay vintage paper. And, like torn apart books, they're all like in a separate thing. So this stuff kind of goes in a little box, and then I can go through it from time to time. And, oh, isn't that pretty? Well, then I'm just gonna put a little bit in case I decide to take it off. All right, so I'm quite excited about all of this today. Let's see. Move everything out of the way. We conquered a lot. So I hope that you'll find something in when you're practicing. And, I think it's important to be kind of intentional about your practice and your experiments because it just kind of leads you into the new directions where you wouldn't think about going if you were putting pressure on yourself to make art. And oh, it's all so pretty, isn't it? I'm so excited. So, I'm like you. I do put pressure on myself. I want to make, a beautiful class for you. I want to make, artwork that I'm happy with. And so sometimes it just takes time stepping back and allowing things to present themselves. All right, so end of Sketchbook summer. All right. Okay, look, how pretty is that? Okay, I'll put that aside. All right, here we go. We're going back. All right, have a great weekend. Bye.